Welcome to the blind battle of the Elijah Craig barrel proof C's. I'm your host Sam, and this is Whiskey and SV. All right, thanks for joining me again on this beautiful Saturday night where I was at a friend's house celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving, and now I'm back to do the episode. As you probably know, if you follow my social media, wink wink, Whiskey and SV, I am a huge fan of the Elijah Craig C923. I have been ranting and raving about how good it is and how I need more than just one backup, and how I would buy as many as I can at the MSRP price of what is it, like $70 now? I think it is a total bargain at that price, and a lot of my whiskey friends that have tried it, as well as a lot of whiskey influencers that I've watched their reviews, they agree that this is one of the best Elijah Craig's of all time, definitely in recent memory, possibly even better than the older ones that are now fetching humongous prices on secondary markets. So I wanted to put it in a blind test against a C922, which is the C batch from last year, and see if there's actually a huge difference or is it just a hype. I am 99.9% sure it's not just hype. I really believe that this is a special whiskey. So let's do it. Let's try to do the blind and see um, where we land on this. I'm pretty sure that it is not going to be a fluke. Okay, so let me just show you what this is. This is the Elijah Craig C923, which means it's the third batch of the year 2023. It comes out in the September, which is the ninth month, and this is the first time in a long time or ever that it is a 13-year-old 7-month whiskey. So in the old ones, they used to actually write the age. It was part of the label on the side. It says 12-year whiskey, and this is for the C922, right? So it used to be like they used to put the age there, and they removed it as of the I think A123, which was the first batch of this year, and the second batch of this year, which was the 523, was actually an 11-year 6 months or something like that. So it was less than 12 years. And people were worried that, okay, they're gonna keep getting younger and younger, and they're getting more and more expensive. But they really surprised everyone by giving a 13-year 7-month old version, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, it probably, that extra year is probably not the reason why this is good. They probably just picked better barrels, or I don't know what they did, but this thing on the nose is ridiculous. Okay, so without further ado, we will pour some of this in here as well. Okay, I think I poured a little bit more than I should in that one, so that may tip me off. I should probably measure it, but good enough. That's basically indistinguishable. So we will put the caps on. We'll put one on the 2023. I'll put cap 2 on the 2022. All right. So we'll get our trusty table, and it is out of battery. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna have to refilm this now. I'm gonna have to go and charge this and come back. All right. We'll be back. All right, so we're back, and I was able to connect this to a power source, so it should work now. And let's go. Okay, so I'm very excited to know whether this lives to the hype that I've built up in my own head, and unfortunately, not just in my own head. I put it out a review on social media, on Facebook groups and my Instagram, about how amazing this is and how I want to get as many of them as I can at MSRP. And now I'm nervous. What if I'm wrong? And what if it's not really as good as I thought it is going to be? So I don't think that's the case. I think it was so distinct when I opened it that it should really stand out. I had one dram next to the a 9 year 69% one that was a pick, and I think this should really stand out. Okay, so let me first turn down the volume on my laptop so it doesn't mess around with this. Okay, so let's get started. Exciting. Okay, so as usual, we will nose first, and then we will taste. Here we go. Okay, so very confectionery, typical vanilla, you know, brown sugar, caramel, um, oakiness. There's some alcohol burn on there for sure. Okay, what about this one? More alcohol burn. It seems more intense, honestly. There's a bit more of a mineral flavor to it, kind of like a limestone uh, type, a limestone type characteristic. Is there a clear difference between them? Is there one that's clearly better? I have to say no. I don't think there is. This one is, got a bit more of a nutty flavor, I think. The oak is more prevalent. It has less burn. By the fact that it has less burn, I have to say it's probably the 22 because there's quite a bit of alcohol difference. This one is 66.5, the 23 is 66.5 versus the 22, which is 62.4. So 124.8 proof versus 133 proof. Um, but which do I prefer on the nose? I think they're both really good. I don't think there's one that I would really strongly prefer over the other. You definitely have to be more careful with this one. So I'm gonna venture to guess that this is the C923 because it just seems more there's more alcohol and it's just more intense. It just feels like everything's a bit more amped up. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't think there is a clearly preferable nose on one of these. I think they're both really really good, which is a surprise because when I was having this by itself, I thought the nose was phenomenal, and I thought the nose beat out Stag, Russell Reserve 13, uh, all the ones that I tried next to it. And I don't know if the nose is just that amazing on the fresh crack. Usually, you'd think fresh crack has to be more closed off and it should improve as time goes on. So that shouldn't really be the case. So I'm very surprised that these are so close. Okay. Well, it is what it is. That's why doing blinds is important. So let's go ahead and try the palette. Okay. Very intense, barrel proof, just full of lots of like brown sugar and oak and spices, baking spices that come out, and the finish is just like those spices with oaky flavors lingering and that little bit of like that sugary sweetness underneath. It's a very typical um what I think about, like when I think about bourbon, I think this flavor. I think this, and of course the Buffalo Trace and the Russell Reserve type flavor. Like this is the stereotypical um what you think of when you think of a nice bourbon. Okay, so let's try the second one. I do get more mineraliness on this. Extremely similar. I have to say, there's not a whole lot of difference between these. Again, you get this like brown sugar and vanilla and caramel and lots of oak, some nuttiness, the typical Heaven Hill type nuttiness. Um, Again, the finish is just that oak, making your mouth dry, but the spices at the same time making your mouth water. It's a very interesting feeling. Honestly, I have to say, I don't know which is which. This is very surprising to me. I really had it in my mind that the C923 should be head and shoulders better. There should be no comparison. And I am very, very surprised that this is not an easy thing for me to tell apart. Um, when it was not blind, I thought, okay, easy. It's very easy to tell apart, obviously, because you know what it is. So yeah, it's just going off of the slight alcohol burn. I think it's this one, but that is that a good thing? No, it's not necessarily a good thing. I think from an experience perspective, yeah, sure, I get a little bit more intensity in this one. I like intensity, but maybe you don't like intensity, so I don't know. Okay, I'll do the palette one more time, starting from this one. Yeah, it's very intense. It's just the flavors that come out are, you know, just really really intense, and the oak and the vanilla and the caramel and the brown sugar, they're very well integrated. It is a great experience. Quite a bit of spices as well. Okay, let's go with this one. I think this is more oaky. There's more oakiness. um, the flavors are generally more intense, and I think that's just because of the higher ABV. It makes my mouth water more. It just delivers the flavors with a little bit more punch. But there is not that much of a difference. I was going a bit crazy over this. I was thinking to buy a couple of cases and just bunker it away. Um, After this blind, I'm beginning to question my enthusiasm. I'm really beginning to question my enthusiasm. I don't think there's that big a difference. Having said that, I do want to try this a few more nights, and I think there's some nights where my palate's just off, and I just can't tell the different stuff, and there's some nights where it's clear as night and day. So for now, I think they are close enough that I'm not gonna go crazy over it like I was thinking. However, yeah, I'm definitely going to revisit this a few times over the next few nights, and I will probably either make an episode or post about it on my social media, on my Instagram, or our Whiskey and SV Facebook group. So consider joining those, and see what my thoughts are if you're interested. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. This has been certainly a very informative episode for me. I hope you also found it interesting, and I hope to see you in my next episode. Have a good one, and see you next time. Cheers. Wait a minute. I didn't even do a reveal. I need to do a reveal. I've been doing some drinking, so uh, okay, let's do the reveal. So what did I say? I said that they're very close. I didn't even check. I think this is the C922. This is the C923, but not based on whether it's better or not, just because I think this was more intense and it had a little bit more alcohol. So yeah, this is the two, and this is the one, meaning this is a 922 and this is 923. Well, there you have it. Uh, I think the more important thing was not how I came to that conclusion, but the fact that I think they're very close. So now it's actually safe to say bye, and see you next time. Cheers.